open community call. Normally we have these community calls and Unlock Your Design, our membership group, but definitely wanted to keep this one open for the public because I think conscious leadership is such an important topic to talk about and begin to embody, because we're seeing that there's a lot of things shifting in business and the way people are carrying themselves, and just entrepreneurship in general. We're seeing a lot of people starting their own businesses, a lot of moving away from corporate, and even like the corporate structure is changing. I know some of you guys are in corporate businesses and you're kind of those sleeper cells coming in wanting to shift things up and move things around, because how we're doing business now is not how we're going to be doing business in the future, and a lot of things are changing from hierarchy to hierarchy, more synergy, more balance, more equality in the workplace, more collaboration versus competition and dominance. So we're going to be talking about this and talking about what you're feeling into, how you can find your own like leadership style spice in your own chart, and how can you begin to embody that and bring that into your own business and your own life, whether you have something that you're creating or moving forward, or whether you have a family. There's different ways that you can be a leader in your life. Hold on, I'm going to mute you all. Okay, perfect. Everybody's muted now. Okay, so before we begin, I really wanted to create a sacred circle with us all and connect in. I did want to call forth different gene keys to bring and share their wisdom so that we can connect in and kind of plug into that frequency. So let's begin. Just get yourself in a comfortable position, and I want you to begin to just breathe into your lungs, into your belly, whatever feels normal and right for you. Let's just take a couple deep breaths as a group and breathe in. And out. You can get your own rhythm going, or maybe even 5-second counts in and out, getting deeper than you normally go and longer than you normally do. And I want you to bring your focus to your heart center, to your heart space, and I want you to imagine yourself breathing into your heart as if your heart is breathing. It's taking the inhale and exhale. And as we're inhale, we're bringing in more compassion, more integrity, unity, connection. And we're just breathing out anything that doesn't serve us, any discomfort you may have in your body. Just let it all go and just relax into this circle. Let your walls come down. There's no judgment here. There's no comparison. There's no competition. We're just here together, working together, communing together. And as you are opening your heart more and more with each breath, I want you to connect into the pillar of light that travels down from your heart into Gaia. So I want you to imagine that thread, cord, pillar, however you want to visualize it or feel it, just going down into each of your lower chakras, going down into your solar plexus, your sacral, your root, your earth star, and just really grounding in deep into Mother Earth, into Gaia, connecting in to her core, feeling that energy, feeling that abundance, that knowledge, that wisdom, that nurturing energy, and feeling the golden energy just take you in as if you are having a big hug from Mama Gaia. And just sit there for a little bit. You can float in that energy. Connect into that core, very deep into the heart of the earth. And with your breath, I would like you to bring some of that energy back up into your physical and energetic bodies. Just bring that Gaia energy up through all the layers of the earth, going into your cord and into your central column, meeting your Earth Star chakra, your root, your sacral, your solar plexus, and back into your heart. And letting that energy just swirl in that space, constantly connected, feeling that energy flowing. And I want you now to imagine yourself bringing forward and embodying your higher self, your true self. He or she is not outside of you, it's not above you, it's not anywhere besides inside your heart. We're going to let your higher self drive today. So let's take our breath and allow ourselves to just begin to embody that true self, that higher self. Connecting into that, expanding in that heart center, connecting to the Gaia energy as if we are combining the energy in this alchemical process. Your higher self integrating with Gaia right in the center of your heart, and your heart pumping that beautiful energy throughout your whole being, your whole body, your physical and your energetic bodies, just soaking up that beautiful energy. Even expanding into your aura and out into the room you're in, having your own awesome bubble of yummy energy. And now we are going to connect into Source, Creator. I want you to imagine that pillar of light again, this time ascending up, connecting into your higher chakras, your high heart, your throat, your third eye, your crown, your soul star, and up and plugging into Source, Creator. Now we know Source is not outside of us. This is just for visual, just for connecting, just for calling in that energy, that unity, universal love, creation energy. You can imagine that diamond white light just flooding into your body through your pillar of light, that plugged in and connected, and mixing and merging with that Gaia and higher self energy within your heart, feeling that Gaia, higher self, and source energy mixing together, combining, spreading, and your heart pumping that energy throughout your whole being. And with this beautiful new mix of energy, I want you to now imagine all of us connecting heart to heart in a beautiful circle together. We're all sitting around this circle, connecting heart to heart. And in the center, I want you to imagine, sense, feel a new pillar of light coming up through the core and down from above, and it just seems to go on endlessly. And what we're going to call in and bring in through this pillar of light is the gene keys, the different gene key wisdom. So you're going to connect into that morphogenic field, and we're going to call in different gene keys, and they're all here, they're all present. And as we are speaking today, we are going to call in specific ones. So you can imagine your heart connected to everyone else's heart and also connected into this pillar of light. You in the center, you will be able to call in the gene key wisdom. You will be able to channel this energy. It is here for you and it wants to come through. So as we are beginning this community call, I want you to know that you have the floor and that your voice matters and it wants to be heard, and anyone can bring through this wisdom. So if you feel called to say anything, to share anything, don't hesitate. Just hop right in. So as we are connected together, I want us all to now bring our awareness now to this call. You can open your eyes and let's connect to each other visually now. Now that we're energetically connected, we can connect to each other visually with this new energy. How does everybody feel? We good? We awesome? You guys can unmute yourself too, because now we can start. Thanks so much, everybody, for joining us. I know that we did talk about particular gene keys that we're going to be touching on today and talking about conscious leadership. I also have my deck, so we'll see what comes through. If you're feeling a particular gene key or you want to share certain wisdom or epiphany that's coming through, definitely don't hesitate. Bella, Melinda, did you guys want to kick this off or start? Do you have anything you want to open with?
Yeah.
I think you're muted, Bella.
I'm fine if Bella wants to say anything.
I mean, I feel like the overall thing for me is the shift in leadership from the 5th line to the 6th line, and really kind of that leadership that came from the voice, where it was enough to say it and have followers, and where basically there could be even manipulation in that leadership, to the 6th line leadership, where it's all about values and truth, and where you don't really even, where you're not so concerned about being followed, but it's really more about being a role model and walk your talk. And by that, you're almost a reluctant leader that people follow, and kind of that shift that is happening right now. And when we even in the world see, the last, for me, hopefully 5-line leaders, and the new visionary leaders, the 6-line leaders. So I guess that's the overall theme that I just see for leadership and for empowered and conscious leadership.
And what Bella's talking about the transit currently. The 31st gene key is in transit, and we're shifting from the 5th to the 6th line. I'm not sure what the Just Now chart says right now, but thanks for sharing that for sure. That's very much in the forefront. And I'm wondering if any of you guys have felt this call to leadership, or if anything has been coming up for you where you're wanting to either be heard or be seen. Like what has been showing up for you this week in terms of the 31st gene key, or the 7th, or the 41st, because a lot of those are connected in. Anyone wants to share?
Okay, well, I don't know about gene keys that well, because I just don't. You guys are pretty much my only source of knowledge for that, like your group, Ashley. But okay, even just this morning, and Ashley, you've probably heard me say this to you, like in person, what I'm gonna say to everyone, and anybody else who knows me has probably heard me say this. But I'm really like vibing with what Jacqueline, is that your name? Sorry, Bella. I'm really vibing with what Bella just said, because I feel that so hard. What she was saying, she was like almost a reluctant leader because of like feeling like, wait a second, like am I credible? Like, can I lead? Like, do I know enough? You know what I mean? Like, and I guess you guys are saying there's a change, and the 6th gene key is more about like visionary and having the vision. And I've been seeing my future pretty much. Like, I've been really like, okay, I'm like, I know the logical steps I'm gonna take to position myself to get leverage so I can be this big community leader that I want to be, and like, I'm feeling that so hard right now. And I feel like for me, my basis, and maybe this has something to do with a gene key going on, my basis for wanting to show up as a leader is seeing how unethical our world leaders are, first of all, and then how that trickles down to our little communities, and how a lot of people who have really big followings and make a lot of money are actually inauthentic, and they're not living what they're preaching, you know? And I'm just like, I just feel really passionate about this. And yeah, that's where I'm at.
I can feel that, and the shift from Cancer to Leo, a lot of people are feeling that fire, and they're like, oh, okay, this feels good. It doesn't feel, you know, like last month was crazy. This month feels a little bit open. It's like, okay, what are the possibilities here? So, we can feel your passion, Olivia.
Right? I'm not sure how to tone it down sometimes.
That's okay.
Don't dummy down, girl. Let's shine, let's shine.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yeah, actually the 14th Jinky came up when I was going through the cards and like, okay, which Jinkies want to come forward, and so many wanted to come forward, and one that caught my eye was the 14th, which is compromise is the shadow, and I thought about style too, because a lot of people, what's curious to me is I always look for animal totems, and a lot of people have been seeing hummingbirds for some reason, and I always see hummingbirds, but hummingbirds are associated with the 8th gene key, and that's style. And so don't compromise your style for other people. We need to hone in on who we are, how we put ourselves out there, because everybody has a different style, everybody has different flavor, flair, and it's how you manifest that externally that is going to then attract your people. People need to see you in your authentic, brilliant light, and not this obscured version that I don't think they can handle all of me, right? They want to see you for you. So.
Yeah, and I mean, right what you're saying now, there is a double theme of compromise, because when I was speaking about the 6th line, I'm speaking about your profile numbers. So, you know, in human design and in the Jinkies, maybe, you know, you're 2-4 or 3-5. And then when I speak about the 6th line, is about this the number that is after the dot on the Jinky. So it's not the actual Jinky, but that number. And really the big thing for the 6th line, or for the new visionary leader, is like when you start compromising, you're basically compromising the vision. So that's the biggest challenge for the visionary leader, to not have enough to nurture that dream, to not have people enough following that also nourish that dream. And the same thing that you're saying, actually, the 14th Jinky, the shadow is compromise. So I guess, like, you know, this is double theme of saying the only thing that can really stop you in order to start walking that role modeling truth is that you're compromising what you believe in.
Trina, did you have something to share? I saw hand go up.
There should be a mute button that you hit on your phone to unmute.
Where's Trina? Let me unmute. I can't unmute her. No. Are you there, Trina? Or was that accident raise hand? Maybe she should be
in the corner, right? To the right. Trina.
Oh, wait. Oh, yeah. Because I don't know if Trina McGee and the other Trina is the same. Is it you, Trina? I'm going to unmute you. There we go.
Thank you. That's all part of the process, yeah. So what has been coming up for me, you know, to the question that you asked is, I really have found a difference, because I am basically that. February 12th, I basically left my work in a devastated place of not knowing how to put myself together. And I've still been on leave since then. And I've really been noticing that in the last week, actually even yesterday, I was waking up with this message of my life work, which is 19.5. So where I'm moving is away from that place of wanting to be codependent, having someone else care for me, that still ruminates in my own program, and stepping up the sensitivity I have as an intuitive and really labeling it, letting the world know this is what I do, and creating a new tribe. So I'm really ready to get out there, but it's amazing the fear I've had. I think why I'm digging deeper in is because I think for me to unwind that and get into that life work of 19.5, I have so much to the world. And I'm just really, I to use that word because it could be negative, but I almost feel like there's a little part of little Trina that's dying if she doesn't find a way to get out.
Hmm. Are you a 5'1" or a 5'2"?
I'm a 5'1".
Hmm. So interesting. And you're a generator too, right?
And I'm a generator, yeah.
Yeah, I think, I mean, because I'm a 5'1" generator as well, and I feel like maybe we should also touch on the profiles and the types, because when you think about leadership, right, can the generators rise up to be leaders? Like, we're workers, and so what does that mean to be a leader? And then also, like, if you're in your vocation sphere, if you have a 1, you're a creator, so you're creating something, right? And so there's all these different facets that make us leaders in different regards. But I know that I've struggled a lot with like rising on my own and my own sort of codependency as well. It's like, how can you lead? Are you supposed to lead alone? You're supposed to lead with other people. Like like me, Bella, and Melinda are doing this together, right? But is there part of us that's like avoiding going at it alone too? Because we're all generators as well. There's a lot of dynamics.
I'm really into what both Peter Tung and Richard said. We did the 64 names of love. He said, really, I'm to work with a group of 13, which has been my message since I was 14.
A group of 13, is that what you said?
Yeah, with a group of up to 13. And that's been my message since I was 4 years old. It's just a matter of finding the tribe, because what I've always done to make myself sustainable is...
It sounds like you're supposed to create a coven.
Ooh. What is that word? Coven?
Isn't that how many people you have in a coven? 13? Like, that's what it sounds like to me. I'm over here being a reflector for all y'all generators right now. Yeah. I'm over here like reflecting. I'm like, interesting. But Trina, I feel like it's soul deep, girl. Like that, like you feel there's a piece of you that is gonna die if you don't get out. Like that to me sounds like a soul wound.
It is. That's the problem. Like I didn't realize when I physically stopped, I was sick, like sick till the 15th of March, bedridden. And now I'm coming out of it. It's interesting because I don't feel like I'm grasping, I'm hiding, which is not normally like me. I'm a person, I like to work from morning to night. Like, it's so interesting. Like, I really enjoy being on stage, presenting. I'm not a person, I'm not very good at writing, so I like to delegate that. So that could be why I'm supposed to work in, because I'm the type of person where you can throw in front of an audience. I can stand in front of 100,000 people with absolutely no nerves. All I need is a teleprompter.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't bother me at all. And I am also, my main thing is about loyalty. What I'm dealing with is both in my pearl and in my culture. I have 59.3. So I've been living this story of lies my whole life where I try to look good to avoid looking bad. And I'm really working on letting that go. So that for me means I'm talking less. I need to think before I speak, which is a new lesson for me to learn at 51 years old. Which is funny. I'm a 5'1", and this year I'm in the 51. I'm 51. I'm in a 5'1", and I'm transitioning out of this, corporate world. Yeah, because it's not my calling anymore.
Does anybody have any feedback or response or questions for what Trina just shared, or if you're going through something similar as well? Randy, can you unmute yourself, or do I have to unmute everybody? Oh, yeah, okay.
So something came up for me, and it's like on topic to what you were saying before she shared, but then I love the synchronicity with the you're a 5'1", 51. Yeah, that was really cool. And I truly think that means something, for you and your process. Something that came up for me is, okay, so I have this Etsy handmade business, where I decorate drinkware. I put vinyl decals on water bottles. And it just happened on a whim, and then it wound up being it turned into something crazy, and like I got a ton of sales, and my house ended up turning into a warehouse. But it wasn't like I was planning on going into business doing that, and it all kind of happened for me. And then I was the one responsible for everything, but I had nothing established. So I was on Etsy, it's a global marketplace, and I wasn't ready for it. I guess that was life help, like throwing me to the wolves so that I can figure it out, because the kinds of messages that were sent to me were basically like, well, you're the one who's doing this. Tell me what I can get, or you should know it's your business, and it's like, oh yeah, it is my business. Why don't I know this? And so like I would take business courses, and the first couple of business courses I took asked me questions that I didn't even ask myself about my life yet. And so it was like, oh, I wasn't ready for all of this. I just wanted to learn how to sell these decal bottles better. And then I realized, answering some of those questions and trying to get more serious about my business is that whatever I was doing before, I didn't know what the heck I was doing before. I'm glad I got there, but that's not what I'm here to do. And it's like the last year has been pushing me like to go out of my comfort zone more and more and more, to revolt against all of the disconnection that I had at the beginning, whatever that cycle was, and now I'm like, it's like the wires got reconnected right inside of myself. Like you rebuild your life, and it's like once you're there, whatever the heck you were doing before, I personally kind of like grossed out by still having to have my foot in the door there, because it's not me, and I feel inauthentic doing it. But it's still my only income right now. Well, not my only income, because I just started doing something else, but it's my main income right now. So it's like, how do I'm like trying to like convert out of that into a new life, and it's just like what you were going through just kind of like brought all of that out of me. So I was able to put it into words. So thank you. I like how that works.
Thank you, Brandy, because that's what happens to me. I don't know, that's just maybe part of my human design. But when I am able to use my throat chakra and communicate, and then someone shares, it dropped in right away. Like I just got an idea that I've had that was ruminating in me that just came to the forefront, and I just wrote it down. And I'm like, wow. So that's, for me, it's a need for communication, because I've been in isolation. I've been doing mostly cold calling the last little while. They promoted me because I was the top salesperson. They thought, oh, you can be a hunter and a cold caller. Well, me getting rejected over and over again has already been my pattern of life. So I don't want to do it for a living. I mean, you pay me $100,000, $200,000, $500,000. I still don't like it. Right. So you've let me know that maybe it's multiple things, but I do have a good idea. But thank you for letting me just drop into that, because it's all part of the process, really.
And I think it is key. How do we go from a 3D world of business to move through this transitional 4D into the 5D? And I think the baby step piece and holding the vision, of what you want, but meanwhile, how are you paying the bills? So I think, I took a master course, and he talked about chunking it down. So you have your big vision. How do you get it down into smaller baby steps so that you can still feel like you're coming more into alignment? Or how do you make these choices? Like I just did a course correction for somebody that has a 31 and a 41, and I do too. So of course, and we were together in each other's auras, so you better believe we did a course correction. And then as I'm coaching to her, I'm hearing my words like, how do we have to do these steps even? How limiting is that? How can we, how can we come even further out of our comfort zone and think about how we can bring that big vision fully into the present with that 41? How do we bring it in, and what does it look like? Why do we have to have the 3D mentality of, oh, I do have to do these steps? Call it in, hold it strong, be strong in our core, and be open to miracles, and just keep holding the vision. I have to walk this too, you know. I'm having a little self-talk right here because I'm coaching myself here.
I love that. There's so much that came out of just that sharing and then epiphanized for other people. It's like, this is why we need these kind of calls is so that we can have this feedback, right? And I feel like there's so much verbal processing people need to have, because you can ruminate all you want in your head, but there's something that unlocks when you're in someone else's energy, especially intentionally. We're setting that intentional to be in this sacred circle and come at this in a very open way, like what I don't know what I was going to say, Rob. What Richard said in his Pearl Sequence book is that we go through this process of, like, we got to anchor into ourselves, right? So the activation sequence is very important for us to understand what are our gifts, who are we, so that we can know what we bring to the table, and then understanding later what our vision and purpose is, so that we can not get distracted and keep going on that path, and know that anything that we're attracting, it may not be like, oh, you're supposed to go on this route and this is the thing. It may be like Brandy's learning how to run a business, and she had to, like, go into this business that is lighthearted and fun, and learn all these things that she had learned from growing that business, like, from, you know, the ground up. Like, I got to do everything, right? And figuring it out, and then understanding. Like, I went through this whole thing where I had a branding company, and I was bringing out my graphic design and coming into my my own confidence in my skills, and I learned so much in that business. But was that the business? No, and that's why it dissolved. But you have to know how to let things go and just move with the change that happens. And Melinda had said about she was touching on it, but didn't say it in the words that Richard had said. We need to strengthen our spine, and that comes from that core stability, right? Strengthen your spine. You're not having a tight belly, you're having an open soft belly, and then open heart, and then you open up your throat. But you have to go through that strengthening of the spine so that your belly and your heart can be soft and open, and then it opens up to that throat, and being able to speak it and be that leader, and bring out your core essence and your style, and getting that out there so that people can connect to it, right? Yeah, that's what I wanted to touch on with some of the things that you guys were saying. I was really resonating with, but it's very important for all of us to connect into that core stability that we get from working through the activation sequence, and even understanding your masculine and feminine energies, like Bella and Melinda and I were doing in our sacred blueprint calls recently. Knowing where in your chart to look, and how you can hone in and focus on your own gifts and talents, so that you're not comparing, you're not competing. There's no hierarchy. There's no race at all. You're, like, in your own lane, and you're not competing against anyone, and there's not even a finish line. It's just, how do you choose to live your life? What do you choose to put out there? And coming from that sense of connecting into that deep knowing of who you are and what you like to do, what you love to do, and what's going to be helpful to the rest of the world, right? And coming from that altruistic place. You're not going to unlock your pearl and your prosperity unless you feel that you are overflowing and that you need nothing from anyone outside of you. Because if you're doing things and you're in a leadership position to either like feed some kind of monster in you, like, there's so many different things that we're trying to feed, because it's, I'm hungry, I'm starving, I need attention, I need recognition, I need to feel like I belong, I need all these things that I don't have in me. And that's not coming from that leadership place. That's coming from that, it's like a wounded leader that needs something from its followers. Like, you have to lift me up. And that's not really leadership. And maybe we should even try to call it something different, because it's not about forcing people to go your way. That's like leading and being in front. It's like this whole, like, army of people, and there's not really anybody in front. It's like we're all helping each other, right? And how do you catalyze that?
Actually, when you say all that stuff, I feel it in my body a lot, and like I don't know, I feel like I'm feeling like the group emotional body. Maybe that's a part of being a reflector or whatever. But that is like such a big lesson for like everyone's ego, everyone's shadow, you know. And I know that one of those jinkies you guys are talking, 14th jinky shadow. So doesn't human design connect with astrology as well? Not quite sure how that connection works, but you guys know that there's a new moon tomorrow in Leo. And it's just interesting, you're talking about the heart and the solar plexus, which is Leo spots, you know. Just seeing that, and yeah, I feel like I'm resonating with everything you're saying so deeply. All of what you just said at the end especially is like everything my ego has had to learn on a really, even like just like being in this like group call right now, like I'm just like one of those people that's like, ooh, like can't get too close, like I have those walls up with my heart, you know. Can't trust everyone. I think someone said betrayal. I think Trina, when she was talking, said betrayal. I'm like, I feel like it goes so much deeper than just like this moment, just this life. Like it's like this like eternal betrayal that happened when the earth like shifted into duality, you know. And just like we're really as light workers like pushing to shift back to like heaven on earth and making that real. And it's like all these, it's like I feel the vision, I see the vision, I may even actually have like physical proof of my vision. Like I'm taking the material steps to get where I need to be the leader that I want to be, but I'm still going through the transformation because it hasn't quite been born yet. So all this old stuff is coming up, and I'm like, okay, yeah, this is old, this is outdated, this is the new, and I just feel like more powerful than normal. I don't know if that's a jinky going on. I just feel more powerful than normal to like declare my reality, to say like, this is what I want, this is what I don't want, this is a boundary I'm gonna put here, this is a boundary I'm gonna put here, because I'm gonna get there, you know. Anyway, yeah, I was vibing.
You guys feel you feel that intensity, that like proclamation energy that you get from her. I think we just, the whole galactic new year that just happened, there was like a 13-year cycle or something that is ended. And so I feel like it is very important for us to just be like, this is what stops, this is what I'm no longer continuing, like the wheel of samsara, like what is it that you are repeating over and over and over, because you have an opportunity to like stop that. Is it, we have the 31 and the 41, that is a start codon, right lady, start codon. Yep. So we got to stop and then start. And so what is it you're wanting to begin? What is it what you're wanting to activate? There's something really magical in that. I know that Crystal had asked about the 31 and the 41. There's something really magical about those two jinkies and having those together. I've spoken with a couple people who had the activation sequence. Oh, where are we? Let me mute some people. Oh, Bella, are you screen sharing? Okay, just now. So the 31 and the 41 are active right now, and I look at those as this morphogenic field, and I think Richard had talked about it, but in having calls and readings with people, I've actually felt and witnessed this field that they have access to. So I want you to know how fragmented you can become diving into this field, because you have access to leaders of the past, present, and future. And if you are not focused on your vision and your leadership, you tend to go everywhere. And so you can almost feel like, I feel so big, I feel so everywhere, but you're not very focused and lasered in. So it takes a lot of intention for you to be able to breathe and bring your presence to the present, because you have so much access all over the place. And so a lot of you are feeling that expansiveness, and you're like, oh, I feel so good, but you could also feel so fragmented and so like it's spread thin, because you have access to so much stuff, right? Bella, did you want to say something about this transit right now, or anything about this? Let me see.
While she's coming on, I just wanted to say the 41 is adrenal glands, and whoa, that's just a lot of energy. Push, you know, and how to stay in a really clean frequency where you can pull it in versus a frazzly, disjointed.
Yes. What are those little pill tablet things that you always bring up, Melinda?
Oh yeah, my rescue remedy.
Rescue remedy.
Did you get some? Because it's flower frequency and it's very calming. And try taking 2 and going to an interview.
You're saying.
Too calm.
Yeah, I actually did get some. I gave some to my mom, and I gave some to her coworker, and then I have one at home for us. But it wasn't really. I didn't want to take it when I was pregnant, and now that I have the baby, I'm like, I don't feel stressed out at all yet. So I'm just waiting for.
It's homeopathic. It would be fine.
Right.
But I do want to bring in the body piece, because I feel like often what I'm seeing is if we're not in alignment of what we're supposed to be doing, our body starts to react.
Mm.
And I think that's a key piece. And so how do I tell a single mom to not go get a job where that's going to give her medical insurance when she knows she's supposed to be opening a business that is going to be a conscious business that's actually going to feed the hungry, you know, and feed the children, because she's got 27 Jinky in her life's work. So that's it. And that's how do we bring this in if we have to baby step it, if that is our comfort zone and we still have these mental constructs. It's beautiful that we're so spiritual and all of that, but I'm feeling like as a line 6 for me, that's way too out there. And if we can all bring it down and come back down into the material world, because that unity between that is where it is going to really impact the world. We have to bring it down, but without losing, that's the key, and that could be the question, without losing our minds. You know?
You're so right. And since we're in the 6th line, it's very easy for people to get separated from this, because it is visionary energy. It is futuristic energy, and that's what we're bringing here. So if you're going to connect into that, how can you bring it down into your body and ground into that? And I mean, especially for those of you who are 6 lines, who have a lot of 6 lines, like 6-2s or 4-6, like if you guys have it in your activation sequence, it's very predominant for you. You're going to be attuned to that tendency to kind of leave and escape your body, especially if you have the 6th line in your body, which is
right. So bring it into your body, and then bring it out into the world.
Yes, exactly. You're not going to manifest crap like up here, like, oh, I'm connected into this, I see this. That's what the 41st Jinky talks about. Non-genius fantasizes while genius manifest, or whatever it is. Like, they're the ones that are actually doing it. I don't remember what exactly the quote is, but the fantasy is the shadow of the 41st Jinky. So when we're up here in La La Land and we're not taking action, we're not bringing it into ourselves, we're not doing anyone any service. You're just hanging out in future land that is never going to be manifested or actualized here, because you're not bringing it in.
And a quick way to do this, as an example, a living example, is I'm having a festival on my property and bringing in friends to trade their goods. This is what we did a long time ago. The gardens are all planted. It's not harvest time right now. I'm creating community on my property where we can make money and trade together and create our own little tribal. You know, this is how business flourishes. When we buy from strangers, you know, there's no connection. I'm on a site called Symbi where you can trade your services, which is totally empowering.
I saw that. I saw that one. I was wondering what that was. I'm like,
it's a beautiful site. It really makes you feel like you have abundance, and that is a very freeing energy.
So you're trading, so it's trading services, not money. It's like an exchange of service, Or is it, or they can't?
Yes, you can trade your knowledge. You can trade, people do trade products. That's up to them. I got a lovely scrub, you know, but this is, I worked behind the scenes with this company. I know it very well. So I highly endorse, you know, looking at different ways of doing money. How we can change this world is by focusing on how we spend our money and who we do business with.
That's
Okay.
that's very 6-line pearl of you, because a lot of the 6 lines, like, they're not here to have like this prosperity. They're here to change the way that we're even using money or not using money. It's time to evolve into some other form of currency besides money. Bella, did you want to say anything? I know that you have this.
Yeah.
Okay, hi.
I wanted to kind of take it back to some of the questions and, like, you know, look at the 31 and the 41, and like also, you know, asking what is it a throat that is defined, you know, colored throat, and also what is the line of the 31, because it does kind of change the possibility for leadership. And this is why I also feel to looking in at the individual chart and see, you know, if we have the 7 and connecting to the 13, you know, then we have the leadership, you could say, in the expression of the leadership. When we have the 41 and the 30, it's also like we have the whole channel. So what you were saying is that you are a 31 too. So then you can think that line 1, 2, 3, they are individual. So there, since the 31 is the kind of, like we said from the beginning, the reluctant leader that really needs to kind of be drawn out by the people and like put on the throne, basically. When you have an individual process and you're basically just here for yourself, like the first line here to investigate for your own sake, the second line here to kind of dance and flow for your own sake, and the third line here to kind of experiment with energy and experience for your own sake. Of course, to have that worldview in the 31, for example, and be a chosen leader can be more challenging than to be a 4, 5, or 6 line that is collective and it's already seeing the transpersonal. So that's something to think about, that it can be, yeah, it's different. And also if you have it in an open throat, of course you're going to be open for outside influence. So that can also kind of lead you to say the wrong thing at the wrong time, and then you are not going to be chosen. So in that way, I would say that the 31 is a little bit tricky. And also the 31 without the 7. I mean, the 7 is the G center. The 7 is the identity, the direction. It's like knowing what love is, like why are we doing it? It's the care. So when we don't have that in the G center, we're just basically the expression that says I lead. You know, maybe then it's even more important to kind of have the backing up. And since this is a projected channel as well, it's like we are all projectors in this channel. So it's like initiating in this channel is not really like something that is worth doing. It's only when we have the backing up and when we are invited to do it. Leadership can only work when it's invited. And I also think when I'm speaking in a bigger sense about the 5 line and the 6 line leadership, the 5th line you kind of impose the leadership. The 6th line cannot do that anymore. And the 31 is the new kind of leadership more than I would say that the 45 is. The 45 is the tribal leader, and the 21 on the other side is the control. And it's like the heart is beating and I'm stronger. So it's another kind of alpha that is taking the resources and controlling everything and putting people on the right side in the tribe. And it's a very different leadership than the 31-7 that is kind of, that is leading from the G center, from the values, from knowing where we're going, and then being chosen to represent from that space, I would say. Yeah.
Can we maybe touch on, actually, can you pull that chart back up, Bella? Can we maybe touch on, because it's not just like the leadership that we can see from the 31, because the 31 is the voice of the leader and the 7 is the heart of the leader, right? And then is the 21 another leadership thing? They call it something else. Mm-hmm. Yeah. What's that one? I can't remember what they...
I don't know in the human design, but I mean, it's the authority, the authoritarian leader, the control of the leader, right? And this is a tribal leadership. This is the money channel. So it's like, having the resources, like controlling the resources, we would say.
Yeah. So whether you have the 31 or 7 or not, or any of these leadership channels or gates, you have energy in your design to be able to be a leader of some kind, be able to be an authority of some kind, especially if you have a channel that's defined. That's like a strength for you, right? There's no hanging gate. You have this channel. And even in the throat center, we can see where different parts of these gates can be leadership gates, right? Like we have that 45, the 12, and I feel, and the 33 and the 8, I feel like there's a lot, and the 13, there's so much that can be said about the different gates that you hold and the things that come out in your personality and the way that you lead. Like the 12, if you are going to do all this work and be the spiritual master, and then you kind of don't want to share yourself, or you're discriminating against other people, and you're saying, oh, this person's not as good as I am because they didn't do all the work, or they didn't train under this person, or whatever. And then the way in which you're speaking to somebody is going to come out, and they're going to feel that they're going to feel that I'm better than you kind of energy and tone, because the 12th gate is really important for people. If you are speaking, you're being a leader, you're going to have to make sure the frequency you hold in your throat is that is pure, and that is the leader, where you are not comparing or saying that there's like this hierarchy. You are allowing everybody to come into their own style, their own, like it's that discrimination of knowing you're really good at this, I'm really good at this, and being able to speak to people from that energy, instead of I'm better than you and you need to listen to me and do everything that I do because I've done the work and this is how it's done, right?
I just want to insert there that the style piece, you're right, Ashley, because it's just, there creates an allowing when we realize that we're matching up with people that are in alignment with us. And so I've been working with my boyfriend and my new boss. Their leadership styles are not matching. There's a disconnect. So it's important that when we're working with our team, that we're on the same frequency and we can get a lot more done and there's not interference.
Yeah, that's kind of like the 45th energy. Are you going to, is someone going to dominate, or are you going to learn how to work in synergy together and work in communion together, right? So I feel like it's really important for all of you, not just to look, oh, which ones are leadership things, like look at all of your gates, look at all of your definition, because it is about the frequency from which you are emanating that. And you can work through your shadows and you can come on the other side and be in that gift frequency. But you're going to have these opportunities to be able to alchemize and transmute and move to a different frequency. Like we have the 22 that's active, the 27, the 54, the 53. The 53 and the 54 are great for when you're looking at business and how to expand and evolve in your business. But if you're at the shadow frequency, you could be all about expansion and greed and I need to dominate and that and I like in the Pearl book, Richard talks about the 16 and the 45, and how when we have a lot of businesses operating in shadow, they're going to be in different dominating leaders, and they don't care who they harm in the process of their expansion. They don't give a crap. It's just about making as much money, having the most impact, having the most reach, and consistently scaling and growing at the expense of whoever gets in the way. So we need to be conscious about how this energy is coming out of us and how we're operating and setting the intention. The 53rd talks a lot about planting those seeds and beginning things in the right energy, because if there's seeds of fear or seeds of dominance, or there's a lot of shadow energy coming through, that's what's going to lead to your demise or your success. So be very, if you guys are beginning something this month, or whatever it is you're doing, and you're like feeling that fire of the Leo, and you're like, I'm going to do this. I want you to be very conscious about how you're beginning all these things. What we're learning right now, look at how the North and South Node is in 53 and 54. As a collective, as a community, as a whole, we're all, and the moon looks like it's in there as well. We are all learning and understanding how to come into those higher frequencies of the 54 and the 53. Ascension, aspiration, superabundance, expansion, and moving out of that immaturity, our north node is in that 53rd. And so we're going to have a lot of trial and error figuring out how can we expand? How can we evolve? And when we are planting these seeds and we're sowing and we're creating our bed, we have to sleep in it. And so are you planting seeds of doubt? Are you planting seeds of fear? Did you start this business because you don't have any money and you're freaking out because you can't pay your bills and you're like, someone buy from me, or somebody validate me, somebody tell me who I am, right? Okay. Oh yeah, and I have an activation that I'll send. Actually, I'll post it in the chat right now. Make sure you grab it before we get off because I don't have all your guys' emails. So I'll post it in the event. And I'll post it in this chat right here. So make sure that you grab it because it's a meditation activation for the 53 and the 54. Thanks for reminding me, Melinda.
No problem.
Um,
Didn't want them to miss the goodness.
no, I'll get that right now. So did you guys have anything you wanted to say, or we can open the floor up too? I'm going to close my throat chakra right now because I feel I want to talk the whole time, but I will not.
I guess I have a couple of things before we stop sharing. Like maybe just looking at the arrogance and see like where, I have the 31 in my field of attraction. So like where in relationships does arrogance come up? And this is also, again, both a 6-line theme when you kind of judge and put yourself over others. And it's a kind of sometimes like a clean, a pretty clean way of dominating that arrogance, that kind of coldness that the 6-line can have, and just cutting somebody's throat with words. And you see the 62 as well, the intellect right now. So kind of just thinking about that a little bit. And arrogance is the shadow of the 31. And I'm going to stop sharing. I was thinking that we could speak a little bit about balanced leadership before we go, if people are interested. And maybe I could just say a little bit about the star pearl and what's going to happen, with a new sequence in the Jinkies, and kind of just like a little nugget on what we are going to do in this group later, and how that is really connected to both self-leadership and leadership in a bigger sense. But maybe just like a couple of minutes at the end, if you guys feel like that would be helpful.
Okay, I posted the link. I'll post it in the group too.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Superabundance.
Woo!
Hi.
Maybe something about what is it called? This is really interesting. I feel when you have the channel, for example, 731 or 4130. When you have these channels, and then you are in relationship with people that only have half the gate, like half the channel, only one gate, and you basically overpower them, or you compromise them in that. Like, it's interesting to see how they often are going to kind of fight with you or judge you for being very arrogant, or for if they don't have the 31 but they have the 7, or if they have, that is something interesting to look at too. And this is also how in relationship we can see those dynamics that happen. So I see, there are several people here, of course, are on the call that have either the 31 or the 31 7, and kind of just understand, I guess. This is really, I feel like it's really by our own chart that we learn the most, and then by the charts by the people that are close to us. So always make the connection chart with, your primary relationship, because there a lot of things are gonna kind of come up. And who knows, maybe you have an electromagnetic, so your partner has the 7 and you have the 31, and how does that feel? Like, these are things that this is how I feel like we learn human design the most. And like you were saying, Melinda, before, like, how does it feel in the body? How does it, when we connect to somebody else, how does it turn out? And how can somebody else get us, feeling those? I think you and I, Melinda, we have the 33 and the 13, and that's kind of how we connected from the beginning, and listening in, and then sharing, and then having that. So this is ways that I feel are the ways of tapping into understanding your own design, basically, that you don't get so much with the Jinkies. And that's why, you know, in this, with Melinda and Ashley, we always look at the 3 systems. We go back to the I Ching and kind of look at what does it say there, and then we look at how things energy move in the body and how we connect to each other through human design, and then kind of the wisdom and the field and the transmission that we're all, you know, open up to. If we go into it with a heart, then that's the Jinkies. So that's why these 3 systems, the synthesis of these 3 systems, is also such a beautiful foundation where you're not stuck into any system. And I've seen only just the last days in the human design groups, a lot of things like, you know, kind of nibbing, like, oh, this is not, you know, and it's a bit sad because nothing is stagnant. And what was perfect, you know, in 87, when human design came, yeah, maybe you can say it's a perfect system, but it's also really cool to see what comes after, and that's the visionary leader, that's the 31.
Good points. Erica, did you have something that you wanted to say?
Yes, I'm not sure.
Let's see what comes out.
Yeah, that's why I'm just going to go with what wants to be spoken.
Perfect.
Okay, so my purpose is 56. So we've just moved through the distraction, enrichment, intoxication stuff, and I can really feel how I have been working and growing through arrogance for quite some time. Actually, for the last month, it's felt like that's what's been coming to the surface. At the beginning of the month, I had with my mum a complete and utter 8-year-old tantrum of, you will receive me, and how I'm showing up in this moment, having spent my entire life what feels like playing the distraction. No, it's not. It's I think my EQ is about to burst off. So the 31 sits in my attraction sphere. The 7 is the programming partner of my core. So these are really active. I'm a line 5 voice for my purpose here. I know that I'm meant to be speaking. I'm just supposed to be opening my mouth and allowing whatever comes out to come out. And that is the leader that I'm being called to be. And I'm so scared of being that leader.
You're doing a great job. It takes time. It does, and it's a physical thing. You probably, you know, you feel all that tightness in your throat, and there's so much that can be done.
And I can feel that moment with my mum was so pivotal at showing me just how attached I was to, I need to be heard. I need you to receive me. I need you to love me, because my culture sphere at the shadow frequency is inadequacy. Unworthiness has been, well, thankfully, it's the gift that has kept on giving in terms of the work that I'm here to do now, right? It was the catalyst for opening all of that. And my work is largely rooted around the alchemy of our emotions. So it's like, I'm not surprised that I was 8 years old having this explosive thing to unlock this arrogance piece, and to really, and to move in with the leadership, and I guess I had a glimmer of that this afternoon, because I came onto the call earlier than I thought it was. I'm here in the UK, and it bucketed it down in the meantime, and I went outside and I just danced in the rain and felt that sense of bliss, which is my prosperity, which my pearl, which is the one I'm like, yes, I'm ready for the pearl to activate. And then my youngest boy came out, and he enjoyed, you know, and so I guess I wanted to share, because I want to say I can feel the movement of all of this, and I feel it before we transit it.
I think if I could, what's coming through right now is that that we don't have to figure it out, and I think you already kind of said that. So if we can just hold that sacred yang container and then trust and allow that it'll happen.
Yeah, that's it. I really resonated with you as you were speaking about, like, why do we have to do this bit by bit? Why don't we just pull the vision in and hold the space for it? We are infinite and limitless. We can totally do that. I'm with you on that one.
Okay, well, let's hold each other accountable. No pressure, no pressure.
Thank you everyone for this evening. It's been beautiful.
Bella,
Erica, hi. Is it okay? I just wanted to say something real quick. When you were speaking, Erica, that really brought something up for me. I'm a fifth line purpose as well. And whenever I was younger, like probably around 6, 7, 8, my parents split up, but I had a stepmom and she was deaf. And what she would do is turn her hearing aid off when she didn't want. She would like use it as the form of not letting I took it as, you know, the fifth line has like a level of specialness to it that kind of just gets told, like people told me, you're so special, you're so special. You know, I never wanted that, but it was just like how I was seen. Well, she would take it a step further, like, oh yeah, I see that everybody thinks you're special. I don't think you're special. And she would just like turn her hearing aid off. Like, and that was like hurtful for me. Well, I didn't realize, you know, because we all come in with these kind of painful stories that we have to overcome to get to that level that we're working towards. Well,
Yeah.
I see that as one of the stories, like that is one of those things, and she was put in that place for me to help with that, whatever. It doesn't take away from the fact of how painful that is. And whenever you start actually using that voice, how it just, I've spoken with a few friends of mine about how it happened for me, and maybe it still will, because, you know, there's levels to this. But I was driving in a car, and I had just spoken with a friend about something that just randomly came up that I felt bad about, and I shared it with her. And whenever I drove home, I was at a red light, and my throat, it felt like I was choked, and it was choked for so long, and it just let go of its grip. And I didn't even realize all that time that it must have been like slowly constricting to the point where whenever it let go, it was like a snap, and I just felt like my throat opened up. And I've never experienced anything like that in my life, but I know it was like right before then, a 7, which I didn't really have the understanding of codon rings and being able to activate each other until like this month with Melinda explaining it to me. But the girl who basically triggered me remembering that it was my stepmom Paula turning her hearing aid off, like when she helped me to uncover that memory, it was like rivers just came down. Obviously this activating each other thing is really potent work.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I just wanted to share that because it came up whenever I was listening to you, and I really enjoy this platform, and thank you ladies for
Thank you. Thank you, Brandy.
Hey guys, it's Lori. Can I go real quick? I just want there was an incident that happened in work right before I saw we were having this call today, and it's always amazing. I see calls when I need to be on them, and it's just the way it works, right? But I'm in a corporate setting. It's very old culture in a lot of ways. But I've always had my own style, and I'm always been about empowering people. So I had this call. I had to speak with someone about something he had done that was really kind of crazy and not cool on so many levels. And I had this call, so I called him and I talked to him, and there were so many triggering moments where I could have just said, I want you to do it just because I said do it, but I didn't do that. I so didn't go there. And I just stayed with this person for the longest time. And I explained to him about my management style and how everything I'm doing is to empower him. And he would bring it back to like, oh, I get it, I should be slapped down for that. And I'm like, no, nobody's slapping anybody down, you know? So this call went on for quite a while, and the interesting thing was all the language that was being used and how I kept on like coming back to center. And it was so empowering for me because it's the things I've always tried to do and who I've tried to be. But quite frankly, even with me doing that, but operating in corporate worlds that aren't like that, you're very diminished, right? So I just felt this Jinky so strongly on that call. And I have been feeling it. So I just wanted, so that was really empowering that I could act it out in the leadership role. It was cool. And then I saw this call. The other thing that happened to me this week, this last 2 weeks, it's been really empowering, is that I've really stepped into owning about how I leak my own personal power. I'm talking in the corporate world too, how I've done so much for so many people, and I made myself look around this week and said, I'm going to support those people that have my back, because that's how I am energetically as a leader too. I'm really good on being a lone wolf, but really what empowers me is when I have like-minded people and we're moving forward, and we're usually moving out of culture. That's what I do. I must be a real fun person for these corporate types to have around. But anyway, I really looked around at who was empowering me, and I got really honest with myself with that, and I made decisions not to leak my own personal power. And I saw that I kind of had a warped sense of service in terms of how much I was giving away to people that I shouldn't have. The other real quick thing, I went to my chiropractor, and also I went to a Reiki person like for over the last 3 weeks. And each time they said there's something's going on with my adrenals. So I just had to mention that as well. And I don't know what the hell, like, I don't know, I guess just more grounding of myself into this power. But the big thing for me is these gene keys feel like they're operating on their own in conjunction, that the energy is there, and we're just part of it. So that's all. That's what I had to share.
Thanks for sharing, Brandy and Lori and Erica. Oh, yes. Those are they're called rescue remedy, rescue. What is that?
Yeah, I've taken those before. They are good. I'll go get some. Thank you.
Yeah, flower frequency here to help us. And Richard Rudd's going to be coming out with that sometime in the future.
He's got a lot to do. Did anyone else want to share or have anything that they wanted clarification on, or it's open for whatever?
May I ask a question? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So I have more interest, obviously, as I'm listening.
This is Ashley Pfeffer.
Everything.
Support design.
What's happening here? Are we listening to the meditation right now?
Oh my God.
Everybody, hold on, everybody check your thing.
I know what happened.
An aspiration.
Victim of needing to be heard.
Oh my God. Okay.
The 53rd and the 54th right now. Okay, hold on.
Go ahead.
Well, it's not me. I know it's not me. I just muted everybody. Go check your iTunes or whatever's playing, everybody, and then shut it off. And maybe it was yours.
Maybe working.
Trina, it's yours. You need to hear this now, Trina. Right now. The answer to your question is the 54th and the 53rd gene key activation. That is the answer. If you go to your Finder too, you can force quit it. If you have a Mac, I don't know if you have a Mac or a PC. Fun times. I was like, oh my God, did I just do that? Let's see. I'm gonna unmute. Is it still playing for you, Trina? It's not? Unmute yourself. I can't hear you. Oh,
Okay,
okay,
now we go. Sorry. There we go. That really, you know what the funny thing is that answers the question I was going to ask.
Oh, that's kind of crazy.
Of course it does.
Actually, everyone's going to go, yeah, literally, I was saying, I'm having a challenge with trying to learn this information because I have Karen Curry Parker dropping me into human design. I've got Richard Rudd and Peter Tung doing the gene key. I didn't actually study the I Ching, and I am so lost, and I was afraid to speak up, and that's what came out. I like, honestly, it's profound to speak up when I don't get stuff. So I just was like going, if there's a way to gather that information so I can work on it, I'd like to use this time well, because I've been off for a while, and I really want to live my purpose. I was really excited before to be able to think of the idea of like doing what Emily was doing, like creating the dancing of the gene keys, because that was my thought. So I want to thank you, Brandy, because so my thought was, as I learn the gene keys and embody them, because as you saw, I've just posted my email. It's called goddessdanceworkshops@gmail.com. So I bring in the goddess, and I wanted to do that through the gene keys because it gives me movement, it gives me verbal, it gives me writing, it gives me community, it gives me connection, and it gives me the opportunity to have variety, consistency, and it allows me to calm down my throat when I'm communicating as a 19.5 so that I'm not pissing people off, as you guys said earlier. And I think that's the part that I'd like to learn. So if there's a way to kind of go, okay, what path should I take? Maybe I need to reroute my path so that I can get it, because intellectually I'm angry at myself for not being able to connect yet. So I wanted to show my vulnerability. I wanted to practice my 59 and do twice, which is often I won't be truthful. I wanted to be truthful and vulnerable, and really meet, more importantly for me, my radiance as my 1-1 and and my purpose of a 2-1, going, let's move this up. Let's get this going. Let's ask for help. So this is little Trina raising her hand. So that would be important to me. I'd like to know out of the group, where do I kind of bring this together? Do I hire someone for a reading? Is there a certain path that's written somewhere, so that I don't have what I have right now, which is probably about this many pieces of paper, and still not an understanding of how to process it.
Oh, Bella. Unmute yourself, Bella.
Yeah, I just got kind of spontaneous feeling, and you're a 5-1, and I've been getting this and I didn't know why, so maybe it's for you. Because in the sphere of evolution, the big challenge for the 5-1 is the misunderstandings and sometimes the complexity. And really go to your vulnerability like you're doing now. That's how it starts to unlock. It's also the thing with the 5-1 profile, that the 5 on the conscious side and the 1 on the unconscious side is such a big gap between them. So for a 5-1, this is what I've been getting. It's really sometimes a too big a jump to go into that unconscious and go all the way to the first line. That is so different, because the very physicality, the very physical realm, and the 5 is so high up in the mental. So what I've been getting, and maybe it's for you, it's that you want to look in your chart where you have 6 lines, because basically for 5-1, it's closer to go to your closest 6 line than to try to go into your first line. So if you look in your hologenic profile, where there's a 6 line, there you're going to have a key. Because again, we're speaking of leadership, we're speaking of visions. When you can go from this kind of where you might misunderstand, or where you don't feel like you understand, or where there's even conflict inside of you, if you can go from that in the leadership, from the voice, from the understanding, to the vision of the 6th line, often the tension of the 5th line is going to dissolve. And how Richard says, the 6th, or the process, the 6th line of the hexagram is a whole other story. It's already the first line of the next hexagram. So that's what I've been getting, and I didn't know really why. My mom is a 5-1, but this is what's come to me.
No, Bella, you're so spot on, because the 6th line has to come to the 5 too, to be able to have that voice to come out. You're spot on.
And that's interesting because I do remember them talking about it when I had my first reading, and I have no 6 lines.
Oh, wow.
So one of the things is when I had my reading, so I'm about being honest and vulnerable. So I've probably invested in paying for 5 readings. So I've probably, invested about $2,000 in reading. And it's been confusing because I still haven't understood because none of them kind of match up to the other. So I believe what it was when I went last time, it's about creating the community because I have no 6 lines. I'm pretty well as when they looked at it before, when Peter first did me a few years ago, he's like, you have, 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 4 in the first line, and I've got 1 in the second line, and I've got, in the 5th line, I have 3, which is my work, my SQ, and my evolution, but everything else sits in, doesn't sit in the 6.
I feel like you still want to look at your human design, and probably this is why you're guided to use also human design. So you want to look at your body graph.
Okay, perfect. I'll go back to that one then. Okay, and then
also, so that is important. I would use the hologenetic profile because you have that journey in it, where you go, you follow the arrows, you go through the sequences. I feel like things are going to open up to you now when the star pearl comes out. I'm pretty sure that you might have even a first line in your star pearl, who knows. I would use the Jinkies as a roadmap. Okay. And it's not about getting readings, it's about exploring your hologenic profile with somebody. And then I would use, like we did today, the body graph to see how energy moves, to see kind of with other people the dynamics, but it's more kind of an extra understanding. But I feel like it's much more grounding to work with a hologenic profile as your compass or your roadmap. That's spontaneously what I would say. And don't get readings, like get sounding board sessions or exploration with somebody that can go with you. You're a 5-1, you're a heretic, you're not here to listen to anybody. I'm a 4-6, if I would work with you, that would be, I can never tell a 5-1 what to do. We can only explore together. It doesn't work. So it's good as a heretic that you just got confused because that's not the way. You come out with your vulnerability, but you also make your own understanding, your own laws, and you come back to your inner authority.
Boom. For sure. All of that. I was going to just say, whatever it is that you're resonating with, like there's too much distraction, like you're trying to pull it all together. I'm a 5-1-2 and I had to go deep in one. And then I still don't go super deep in HD. I'm more like, I'm going to master gene keys. And so now I just sprinkle in the human design as I need to. So you're going to find like your method of understanding, because that's what you're seeking, is that understanding. Because you're like, I need to, like, this purpose, it needs to come out. I'm like done messing around. So like re-look at like where your focus is. And I think maybe that's also why that meditation show like came on, because in it we go to like the abundance garden and we take out the roots of everything that we don't need right now. So that's kind of what you're needing to do. Like whatever seeds you planted, you are watering too much shit all over the place. Like there's too much shit in my garden and I can't take care of all these plants. So like pull up some stuff and then.
And the interesting thing is this journey for me felt similar to my past position of cold calling, where I was reaching out to get people to do gene keys with here. And I would even go to the island to be with them. I would, do a 5-hour journey to be with the group and make that connection. And I'd be present and a contributing factor when I was there, but people wouldn't choose to connect with me. So even here, I created a group, we did something in White Rock, Peter would come over, we would do stuff, and then those people wouldn't connect with me. So I think for myself, I'm challenged because I don't do well doing it alone. I'm trying to. I've been trying since February. But when I'm isolated and totally alone, it's challenging for me. So I think I'm seeking, finding right now. I'd like, as you said, I'd like to find my tribe so that I can play with and have friendship, because it's isolating. It's very isolating.
And when you do
not a door knocker. I'm glad that Ra was a door knocker, but for me, in my past position, I mean, I was calling on high-end salons 8 to 10 hours a day. They were telling me no, and I was driving, and then I was going home and being alone. So I was basically smoking the Pacalolo and drinking the wine so that I had friends to talk to in my head. You know, well, that's not my purpose. In reality, if you knew the little Trina is not meant for that. Little Trina is meant to like be in community, to be on stage, to support people when people are like, oh, I'm uncomfortable, to hold them in a way that meets their needs and to learn. But I don't learn from reading comes and leaves me, which I'm learning more about, and I can change that. So I'm verbal, but also it's important for me to be in mutuality. So I can stop and be asked when to join the conversation, be asked when to do that. You know, that's the one thing that came up in every reading. They all said, why are you cold calling? Like your actual profile, your pattern of why you were born, you're supposed to wait to be invited.
Mm.
And I haven't been waiting until I decided.
You're a generator though, right?
Yeah.
Because you're responding to what's coming into your aura, right? Because wait to be invited is kind of a projector theme.
Oh, is it? Okay, then I must have misunderstood it. Because, well, that's good, because believe me, I haven't been waiting because no one invites me, so I've been going out inviting myself.
But it's not just like wait for an invitation from a person, it's wait for an invitation of a situation by checking in with your core. And if you have to write out the emotional piece, sleep on it or whatever, but still checking in. So it's not just waiting for a person. That's what I kind of thought at first.
Oh, I didn't get that. And you know what I do? I go into my solar plexus and I'm waiting for that aha or
Yeah.
Okay, so I did learn that part. Okay, yeah. So that's what I needed. I just needed to verbalize it. I probably do know stuff because I've been stuck reading it. It's just been a lot of...
Probably do it a lot intuitively.
Yeah, well, that's what I am. That's what if he's on Instagram, that's what it says. I mean, because I can sense stuff. I can drop into it. But I want to learn with that honesty that I'm always telling the truth. And I've been journaling and I'm noticing it's still not coming through as 100% truth yet.
Mm.
Well, keep at it.
Yeah.
You're doing the work. Thank you for doing the work.
Mm-hmm. I think Michelle had wrote something in the chat, and then I see Lori or Lois. No, Lois has her hand up. So, and you are gracing us with your beautiful presence. We now see you. Yay! So why don't you share, and then we'll go into Michelle's question. If you want to unmute since you're on camera now.
So I look like a troll. Excuse me. I've been in the hospital for 5 days. My face is really swollen.
Oh,
I had 6 days. I mean, it's 6 days. I've been here for 6 days. 6 days of IV antibiotics. So I have fluid on my lungs now and everywhere. But anyway, since we're being vulnerable, and this is a question I've wanted to ask for a while. So I'm in a really awkward phase in my life. I have really huge things coming down the pipe. That are going to be very fun, and that's my movie, and you guys know about that. A lot of you know about that. That's going to be financially lucrative, but I'm in a really awkward situation right now where pretty much my entire life has just fallen apart, and I have no income at all right now, and I've not been in this position. The last year has been I lost this huge big client, and I went from being very financially successful to really struggling. And I feel very much like I'm going through this issue because I'm learning about the changes that are coming in money and how we deal with money. And I just got back from 18 days in Peru where I picked up a bug and therefore am now septic. But I lived with indigenous tribes in Peru for a few days, and they literally have nothing, no shoes. And they're the most joyous, happy people that I've ever been around. And I realized that we really need so little to exist and to be happy. And we are so caught up, particularly in the United States, with money and things. And I have lots and lots of stories around money for some reason that are really coming up and I'm really understanding. So the thing is, here in my community, I can explain gene keys and simplify it down to where I can take somebody that has no knowledge of gene keys and they can walk out and like totally get it. And I can make it super, super simple. So I've become, like, in my community, the go-to person. I probably have 15 or 20 people that are waiting for me to sit down with them and explain gene keys. And everywhere I go, I'm just surrounded by people coming up to me saying, can I talk to you about gene keys? And I heard about gene keys and somebody, like, random people messaging me. And so I'm spending hours, like I'll spend 2 or 3 hours at a time with people explaining gene keys. I'm not charging for any of this because I think I have like an imposter syndrome or something. And I don't know what to charge or if it's ethical if I charge for my time, but I'm spending a ton of time and putting people on the path and explaining to them. And I don't know how I know the stuff that I know, but when I sit down with people and I start talking to them, I can just like channel everything. And then we'll go look up their gene key and start reading it. It'll be everything I just said to them. And,
I know what you read. You were listening to the book while you were sleeping and it infused.
I've read the book over 15 times.
Yes.
From cover to cover.
Mm-hmm.
So I have it like embedded in my head, so here's my question, and honestly, I signed up for the ambassador program, obviously that, you know, you have to wait till next year and all that stuff. But I mean, is it ethical for me to charge to do readings and stuff like that? I don't have any, I mean, I studied human design for 4 or 5 years, and I always felt like something was missing for me with human design, but when I came across gene keys, it just clicked. And like, I just instantly knew it. Even like in the very beginning, I did. But I'm having this big conversation around money, and it would really serve me to be able to charge for my time and have an energy exchange for my time. But I'm so caught up in ethics and what is ethical and what is right.
So do you want to give some back to Richard Rudd? Give 10% back. Does that free it up for you?
That would be great. I would love to contribute anything because I'm so grateful for this body of work. So yeah, that would be a really great way to do it. Actually, I didn't even think of that.
There you go. I am not an ambassador. I didn't go through their program. I didn't fit the criteria. I didn't do the whole, I have the books. I read the books. I channeled them. I felt just like you, like the same exact way that you're feeling now is how I would.
Because we have all the same gene keys.
Yeah, we do. 2 years. That was me 2 years ago, and I was like, I'm just gonna do it, and I didn't feel like an imposter. I'm like, it feels so natural, and that's how you're feeling. It feels so natural, but there's something in you that just says like, this can't be right. So like, what's the story? What's the belief? What's the program that's running that you need to let go of? Because who says that we have to have all these certifications and all these things that say like, I know what I'm talking about? When people are catalyzed and activated by you, that they're the proof, right? And when I started and I wasn't charging a lot, I even the people that you aren't charging for, they can at least give you like reviews, and that is your body of proof, right? That is what's going to show people like, I know what I'm talking about. But Richard doesn't have a certification thing. He just has the ambassador program, and it's just living it and knowing it and being able to connect into it. I feel is the thing that is going to make you certified or whatever. So charge for it. You need to charge for it.
I mean, I've read all the books. Like I have them practically. I can almost quote from the books. I just have them so memorized. I've read them so many times. Because
why don't you look at starting to trade for stuff that you need?
And I'm a 6/3 profile, and I'm a manifesting generator. So just if that helps anybody, but my chart is almost all 6s. My work, you know, my life, not my life's work, but I have a 55/6. In my vocation sphere. And I just, like the second that I read this, like I sat and cried, and I literally have devoured it since. And I've studied this, like I've watched every video. I follow you guys and read everything you post. And I mean, I've really been just assimilating information, and I can talk about it, you know, and like in the area, I'm like the go-to person for gene keys. Anybody that talks about gene keys, they're like, call Lois. And I feel like it would really serve me if I could start charging something like small, like, you know, I was thinking maybe $55 or something, and just do, you know, since that's my,
do it.
And I have that 55/6.
Activated people are coming to you, right? It's like the way that you can know that it's right for you is that the floodgates are opened for you, and you get to decide whether you charge or not. It's like, is it that I'm going to expend all this energy? Like, it's okay to ask for what you need. And right now, what you need is financial compensation, right? And that's what's opening up for you. So you don't need to be afraid of anything, right?
It's just energy exchange, whether it's a form of paper or whether they're giving you a goat because you're in a village, okay?
Yeah.
Just an energy exchange. And there's a paradigm shift that will be happening. And the leaders in the future, we're going to need more leaders like you. We need you now. And so if you need permission, I'm going to give it to you. I think you're hearing it from all of us, that yes, there is absolutely nothing wrong.
Are you, I'm just curious, are you defined or open will?
In my, I am an open will, my heart.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's where this is coming from. Like, it's like the proving, the compete, like it's that energy of I need to prove myself that I'm worthy of this. You're totally worthy. You come talk to me and connect into my center, since I'm defined. So like, I'm just gonna keep telling you, like, do it. Connect. You can borrow some of my stuff from my center.
And Lois, you can also, this is your transmission. Okay. So this is what's coming through for you. And you can say there'll be times when you're quoting from source and what's coming through as your transmission. And then there'll be other times when you're saying, you know, this is what I've learned.
Right. A lot of it just flows through me. I always funny. I mean, I also have an open ajna and everything as well, but I don't even know how I know some of the stuff I know, but it just, and then I'll go look it up, like I said, and it's always exactly like, it'll be exactly what the book says, exactly like almost word for word.
Who would you hurt? Who would it hurt?
It wouldn't hurt anybody, actually, and it would really help me a lot. It would serve me a lot.
It really would. Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go. I think the business is now commencing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So take this time and date, and you can do a Jinky reading for this time if you feel it in your core, if you feel a shift that has happened. And that's how you can do Jinkies for businesses.
Yeah. Pull your Jinky business chart. Like right now, like you're activated. It's like, I think I'm going to charge. Like, this is the start date of your business.
It's a perfect transit to do it in. Woo!
Hey, there you go. Right on the
exactly. At 4:44. Where are you? Where are you looking at? What time is it over there? Because Brandy just said 4:44. It's 1:44.
It's 4:44 here.
Woo! That's a good number.
Oh, we got another lighthouse. We got another lighthouse to shine. You guys.
Yes. So it's 4:44.
This has been great, but I gotta go shine somewhere else. I love you all. Thank you so much.
Bye, Melinda. Thank you.
Bye, Melinda.
Love you guys.
Love you.
All
right. I think we
thank you for that. I appreciate that a lot. That really helps me, because I just want to, I'm so caught up on integrity all the time and being in integrity about things. And certifications.
You're going to pave the way for the future, because you're going to need people to be able to come to people like us that are going to be in role models and leadership. There's a stigma that needs to be, it's shifted. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Ooh, awesome. There we go. Shine your light. We have time. We have to talk to Michelle and her question. I wonder if Bella is still on too, because you have some questions about, let me see. You're 6'2". Man, we attract a lot of six lines, 6'2". Comes into our aura. Melinda
is my star twin.
Is she?
Yes.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm not that familiar with Jinky. I'm more familiar with human design, but I really appreciate the open invite to this. This is, so many things have hit me, Ashley, starting with you talking about strengthening your spine and opening your heart and throat. I've had 2 spinal surgeries. I have 12 screws and a plate in my throat. I've had heart surgery last year. And, you know, I've now been asked to lead a podcast, to be the lead on someone's new podcast, and I am feeling reluctant. However, you know, I know that like my health journey is so important to share with so many people because, you know, I know that it is, and I know I have a lot to share. I guess I just, you know, need to let go of my reluctance and set my intention. And, you know, geez, I have the 41, the 31, the 22, and I just feel a little bit overwhelmed that I'm asked to do it. And then I'm also right away after that, I was asked to like join in another podcast group and sort of review content and all these things. Like, I'm like, where's all this coming from? Like, you know I put it out in the universe last year, like there's got to be a purpose for all this that I have went through. And then now it's kind of coming in, and I was like, okay, this is good. But at the same time, I'm like, ooh, I'm scared, you know, just a little bit like, I know that arrogance creates separation. And I know I have done that in the past. You know, for over 20 years, I managed 24/7 operation. And I know that, you know, I was great at making connection, but then I also drove separation at times. So I just, in this so important space, I just want to, you know, make sure I'm not arrogant, because I don't feel arrogant about any of it. So yeah, there's that.
How can you be arrogant when you come through such a humbling process too, with like the health stuff that you've been through? You're a second line, so it's interesting too. I think the second line is about fluid and the spine, and so it's very important for you to work with that, to work on that integrity, to work on that, work on your posture, to get into that, because what you're opening up, and it's so curious that all those things are, it's like one crumbles and the rest do, you know, and so you're working on that core stability and getting that for you, and so you had to go through that process for you to be able to come into your role model, you know, persona. So it's, I mean, and all these things are coming to you for a reason. And I feel like the biggest thing that we have to be able to do is when we get initiated, it's like walking through that door. They say that anxiety and excitement feel the same in the body. So if you could just remember that and be like, excitement, this is not fear and anxiety, this is excitement. Let's do this. And like when you get initiated and you feel that, like, oh, I don't know if I'm strong enough or if I can do this, like you asked for it, and so it's delivered. And so how are you going to move forward with this? Because it's going to be such a beautiful thing for you. It's not that, and you're not like a 3-5 or a 1-3, like you're not going to fail in the same way that the other people have to go through that. Like, I know there's some 3-5s on the call and some 1-3s, but honestly, like, you're a 6-2. It's natural for you. You went through the shit you needed to go through. So now it's like, let yourself have that reward, you know, because you're here to shine and to share. Because obviously the universe is giving you a platform to have a voice. And so it's almost like, can you open up that voice? Can you let it come out?
Yeah, that's the challenge.
Yeah.
But I need to reclaim my power.
And I would say, like you said, that you're more familiar with human design. I would go in and go through the Jinky golden path, because that's where it starts. Is the activation sequence strengthens your spine. The Venus sequence allows you to soften your belly and open your heart. And then when you come into the Pearl sequence, you have the space to bring it out and to open up that throat chakra and to bring down and to bring out. You have all the things embodied, so now it's time to share. So I would work through the golden path and see how that will strengthen your inner stability and your core stability and your outer stability and all that stuff, and see what it does for you.
Thank you.
Yeah. I think it's an exciting time for you, honestly, and you're getting what you're asking for, and the reluctant leader in you is kind of like giving you those fears and the doubts and the anxiety, because you're like, am I ready? Am I ready for this? But you are ready, or else you wouldn't have had that knock on your door twice.
Right.
Do you need one more knock on the door?
You know, I've had a lot of knocks, but yesterday it came crashing in, so I opened it.
So what are you gonna? So how? What are the steps for you? What are you asking for us just to like hold space for you or help
Yeah,
you?
I guess I just holding space. I just wanted to speak it out and maybe I'm looking for a 7 to my 31, and I'm not sure, but I just appreciate the group and everybody's shares. And Lois, I just wanted to send lots of healing energy and prayers your way. I have been into I got very sick in the Dominican Republic, and suffered with H. pylori for quite some time, and I know it stripped my body. And anyway, I just wanted to say that.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm septic, so I mean, I came in and they said if you hadn't come in, I could have died. So I've been here 6 days, going on 7. So, but I feel much better. I'm actually alive now. So it was really awful when I got here, but I let it go for far too long because I quite like my story that I'm healed, and so I didn't want to come to the hospital because I didn't want anybody to think I wasn't still healed. But I picked up a bug, and what can you do?
Exactly.
So, thank you.
Is someone here? Yeah. Okay. I'll be there in a second. Oh, someone's coming to fix my sliding glass door. We've been talking for a really long time. I love these calls, and I love the space that it opens up for you guys to be able to share. I think that's really the most important thing, is to have that space, because there's just something about proclaiming it. There's something about speaking it in here, instead of like letting it ruminate here or on a journal or in passing. It's like there's a lot of people you don't know, and you're saying, this is what's going on, this is what I'm moving towards, and it's out there, for multiple people to hear. And even you hearing your own voice allows you to activate that truth for yourself. So it's like, I said it, and now I'm accountable for it. That's part of being a leader, is like you say something and you deliver it, right? So if you're wanting to come into that leadership role, it's time to deliver what you're saying. Okay. Did anyone have anything else that they wanted to share, or anything else before we go? We have a visitor. I'll be with you in a moment. Okay. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll have more of these again. If you want to join the Unlock Your Design group, that you can. I'll post a link to that. We meet every week. We'll probably do something like this monthly, where it's open to the public on different themes, or whatever transits are active, or whatever it is showing up in the collective, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be a Jinky. It could be whatever. So look for that, and I look forward to another one of these with you guys. Thanks for coming on, and for all of the people that showed up today. So make sure you also get your 53 and 54 Jinky activation as well, okay? Thank you. Have a great rest of your day, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.